Extruder. Ta-da! This is the 3D printer I unboxed a few videos ago. As with most gadgets today, they solve their own problems they create themselves. Meaning, most stuff I printed with this printer at the beginning was stuff to improve the printer itself. So and therefore today I present to you the 6 most important improvements you can print for your printer today. You can find the links to all of my recommendations in the description below. Please note this model is an A8 from Anet, so most likely not all of this stuff will fit to your printer, or you have to edit the files to make them work for your own printer. This out of the way, let's get started. First thing you have to do when you want to print something is you have to put the filament in there. So if you want to fill the filament inside, you have to relax the spring, you have to press down, and then you can feed the filament inside. There are lots of tutorials. So as you see, the printer head has a tiny screw, and this is most likely where you put the pressure on. And doing this, especially if you're getting used to your printer, you have to press it like 30 seconds before you can put the filament in there, and you can't get it through and everything. And all the time this big beefy spring pushes against you in this tiny area, and this is rather painful after a few seconds. So you can print this easy cylindrical thingy and put it on there, and you're going to have a better time changing your filament without any pain. You should make sure that it sits nice and tightly, because otherwise when the printing head moves it might just fall down and mess up your print, or you have to take it off when you print. And secondly, the filament guide. So in this case the filament comes from above and is fed right to the printing head. But in most cases you are not able to position the filament spool right where you want to have it, especially if you have to put it like on the same plate as the printer stands. Then you have to guide the filament into the extruder, and to make sure that the filament doesn't get stuck or does not get in the way with everything. So I tried several designs, something more elaborate like this, which has a ball in the ball and looks really funny and neat. Maybe I oversized it, but actually I think this one is the best one I did. Okay, why do I think this? How do you want to attach this once the filament is in the extruder? You can't, because you have no way to get it in there. I will forget to put it in there, and then I have to get everything off, and no. The second thing this thing doesn't work for me is that if you look here, it has like sharp edges, and if you have a bad angle, then the filament is cut in there, or not cut, but will not slide that easy to there, because it always goes around this sharp corner. So this is not the perfect one, this is the perfect one. This is round, you can feed the filament in when you need it, and it's tiny and doesn't mess up your printer. The thing that fell off before, this actually is the third thing I want to talk about. This is a filament cleaner. The problem it solves is this filament is like plastic. It's PLA in this case, and it attracts dust. So you have the spool sitting around and all of this free filament flowing around, and it will collect some dust, and it will take the dust into the heating and into the extruder down here. And if you think about the extruder, in my case is 0.4 millimeters in diameter, so it's really thin, and this is the size where it does matter if there's dust in there and if not. And actually I already had the problem that the extruder got clunked and wasn't able to extrude as much plastic as it should extrude to have a decent print quality. So I had to take it apart, and I had to clean it with some wire and fiddle everything around, and you don't want this. You can do two things to prevent this. One is to buy decent filament. And the second thing is you can use a filament cleaner. As with most of this stuff, I tried 2 models. The way it works is always the same. You just put some sponge in there and then you guide your filament through, and it will be cleaned by the sponge and will turn out clean on the other side. This is the first one I tried, and this is the one you see, the little box here. You can open it, and as you see, there is some dirt. I have 2 of these, one next to the extruder and the other one next to the spool. So, and the reason I choose this is the same as with the filament guide. You can attach it easily even if the filament is already in the extruder. That's really nice design. These are the typical spools of filament. Normally you have like a bar of metal in there, and then you will use it to roll off the filament. So using this, you will have a big construction or something hanging around there. So I searched for a better way. I came about these things. They are really nice. I had 2 pieces of plastic. 2 3D printed parts with 2 bearings inside. So if you take 2 of these, then you can create a nice filament roll. Ta-da! It's quite rigid, so I didn't have any problems with this falling around or something like this. It doesn't take much place and it rolls really nicely, and it's adjustable, so you don't have to buy all the same spool again, because they are independently. If the spool is half the diameter, you just put this thing next to it and that's perfect. The downside is you actually have to buy some bearings. If you want them the next day, you have to pay like $1 or $2 per bearing. If you take them from China, they're even cheaper. One more thing. The problem with the cheaper printer is that they don't have the auto leveling capabilities. You have to make sure that the nozzle has the same distance when printing here to when printing here to when printing on the back or whatever. So you have to make sure this bed is leveled. You do the leveling by turning these screws down here or using the Phillips screws up here. Using the Phillips screws didn't work for me, because even if you try to use the lower ends, you can't fit your screwdriver in there and it's a pain. Whatever. So basically you have to do it every time you move it, and you do it by turning these wing nuts down here. So the wing nuts are basically like a piece of metal, and you can grab them and turn them. You don't have that much space to grab the nut down here, and it could be quite painful to turn this nut, and therefore you can print these adapters. You see, you just put the nut in here and the screw goes up here, and then you have an easy way to turn the screws without hurting yourself. So this is one improvement I had to learn the hard way. But it makes life much easier and limits the rage factor immensely. And last thing is just about tidiness. As you see up here, at least my model came with a lot of tools equipped, and it's really good to have a place to just hang them so they don't mess up your working space. So therefore I printed the tool hanger and the USB hanger as well. You see, the printer created lots of problems that it was able to solve itself. As always, there's lots and tons of other designs and stuff you can print to improve your printer, but these were the ones I found most useful and the most essential upgrades. Obviously, I did a few more upgrades, as you see down here and up there. You can't see it right now, but yeah, maybe I cover them next time. So that's it. Thanks a lot for watching.